Hey, BioE 131, this is Russ with a technical briefing on BT plants. This is part of our discussion of genetically modified organisms, and one of the things is genetically modified foods, and one of the things under there is genetically modified organisms, which are plants. So you've heard maybe about BT corn, BT cotton. Let's just get down to what is BT. Well, first of all, I need to introduce you to Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT for short. This is a bacteria, and the thing about BT is that it makes a protein toxin. Which is an insecticide. So it kills insects. So I think the idea is that the insects eat the BT, ingest the BT, they get this toxin, they die, and then the BT can grow on the dead insect as a food source. Something, you know how evolution is. These organisms do all kinds of things to one another in order to reproduce successfully. It's interesting because this protein, it's a small protein that's a toxin to insects. So in that sense, it's kind of natural. If you think of the bacillus, which is a bacteria, as natural, the bacillus makes it in incredibly high concentrations, extremely high concentrations, so much so that it actually crystallizes inside the cell of the bacteria. So if you look at the bacteria, there's a bacteria, and you'll see little crystals that are made out of pure BT toxin. By the way, that's what we're going to call it, BT toxin. So this came to the attention of people who were having problems with their crops that were being eaten by insects, and somebody had the idea that we could put the BT toxin gene inside plants. And then when the insects ate the plants, the insects would die, and it would essentially be an insecticide. So and this is what happens, and this is where BT crops come from. So just a quick discussion on how this is all done. So first, you create using the miracle of molecular biology and engineering. This is old. We've been doing this for decades, by the way. We create a construct, and the details of the construct you can Google. But basically, you have the BT toxin gene, and you have a promoter, so that the plant, it has to be a plant promoter, so that the plant cellular machinery notices this promoter and encourages transcription of the BT toxin, which is then translated, and then you get a beautiful 3D protein structure. That's a 3D protein structure of the toxin inside the plant. Now, the question is, how do you get it inside the, inject into the plant? So there are two ways to inject. A, which captures my imagination, is with a plant gun, also known as a micro-projectile bombardment. Micro-projectile bombardment. I don't know if there's two T's. That doesn't look right. Plant gun, so you literally, under high pressure, shoot the DNA into the plant cell. And then this construct floats around. It's either integrated into the genome of the plant or otherwise gets into the nucleus and is transcribed and translated. So that's plan A, so to speak. And then plan B is a little bit more subtle than forcing it in. And it makes use of a second bacteria. This bacteria is called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. And this is a bacteria that can infect plants naturally, and it usually infects the plants and then causes plant tumors to grow. And if you want to Google Agrobacterium tumefaciens, you can see pictures of what these tumors look like in plants, and you probably will recognize them. I know I've seen them on walks and around. But the point is, because they know how to infect plants, molecular biologists figured out how to use agrobacterium as a vector. They engineered it to remove the tumor stuff, and they allowed it to carry a payload instead into infected plants. And of course, the payload is our construct way up here, circled, that has the BT toxin. So you can get a plant, you can use agrobacterium tumefactions to infect that plant, and then you will have the plant with this BT. So those are the two ways to get it in. And then you can imagine that there's things more complicated that you have to do if you want this BT to be passed on to future generations of the plant, which they figured out. And so you can now, if you're a farmer, you can buy BT corn, cotton, eggplant, potato, soybean, and tomato, and maybe others, but I for sure confirmed that these are made. So that's what BT is. It's a toxin that you can put into plants. It's used as a kind of pseudo-natural, I don't know, natural, who knows what that means, insecticide. And there are many issues because now you have a plant that has a bacterial protein in. It may change the profile of allergies for that plant because you might be allergic to the BT toxin. Although I must say I don't want to be a panic monger, that I am not aware of too many reports at all of any problems with this, and it is likely that all of us have eaten tons of BT. And I think it's very important to say that the BT toxin is not toxic to humans. So we can eat it for lunch, and we'll just digest it, and it does not kill humans. So that's our module. First one, technical briefing on how we create GMO BT plants. Thank you. See you in the next one.